You've tuned into the Relationship Therapy Podcast with Tony Miller Sr., a podcast designed for couples who are married, couples who are dating, and have marriage in their future. We will guide you to the principles that will make your relationship better. Stick around. You might just learn something that will help your relationship last longer, grow stronger, and become healthier. Now, here's your host, Tony Miller Sr.
Hello, everybody. This is Tony Miller Sr., host of the Relationship Therapy Podcast. I took a little pause during this episode of the Relationship Therapy Podcast to tell you about the Elephant in the Room Counseling Services, LLC. I just believe if you are feeling overwhelmed by what life has done, or you're tired of arguing with your spouse, or you're struggling in your communication in all of your relationships, or you're having financial troubles, or you're just personally having some down times that you need to perk up, I encourage you to call Elephant in the Room Counseling Services, LLC, so they can give you the tools to make you feel better. And I just believe if you find yourself in any of those categories that I mentioned earlier, I want you to call my friends, Ben and Vivian Ross. They're the CEOs of Elephant in the Room Counseling Services, LLC, and just give them a call. You can call them at 706-750-2809, or you can reach out to them on their website at eitrcounseling.com. That is eitrcounseling.com. And once you reach out to them, all you've got to do is tell them that you've heard about them from this podcast, and they're going to give you a 10% discount from their services. So if you're not feeling your best, if you're not having the best times of your life right now, you find yourself struggling, give Elephant in the Room Counseling Services, LLC a call, and they will make you better. Take care. Hello, everybody. This is Tony Miller Sr., your host of the Relationship Therapy Podcast, and I'd like to welcome you to today's episode. What today's episode is we're just following up on what we started last week. Last week's episode was entitled, Why is it Building Trust So Important? And it's from the series that I started last week entitled Building Trust in Relationships. And that is important. I told you last week, a relationship without trust is not a relationship at all. So you must have trust in order for your relationship to grow and for you to be able to stay together and love one another the way you're supposed to. So I've got some more information for you today, and this episode is entitled The Execution of Building Trust. How do you go about building trust? What is your plan? What is your strategy? And when I talk about that, when I think about how do we start, this is what I see. Number one, you must be trustworthy in order to build trust. Too often, we're caught up in expecting people to be something that we ourselves are not even close to being. I'm going to explain this to you in the most simplistic way that I can. It is actually hypocritical to want somebody to be a certain way when you yourself hasn't crossed the threshold of becoming that for you. I know that too often couples are trying to grow together in trust, and that's a great thing in relationships. It's important that you are growing together, but you are really pushing the envelope by not gravitating toward trust yourself. If you want her or if you want him to be trustworthy, give them your picture of what trust looks like. Let them see the trustworthiness in you. For some people, it's extremely hard to be something that they've never seen. It's hard for somebody to be a husband if they've never seen somebody be a husband. It's hard for a wife to be a wife if they've never seen somebody being a wife. And it's extremely hard to have trust in somebody if they don't show you that they are trustworthy. The execution of building trust is you being trustworthy yourself. It will make your partner feel better about you, and it will lean them toward to begin to trust you. So you must be trustworthy in order to build trust. But the second execution of building trust is you must become committed and consistent in your engagement. Now, what are you talking about? Here's what I'm talking about. This is nothing more than allowing your spouse or your mate, your significant other, to see who you are and how you interact with them. This will give them an opportunity to begin to flow with you based on your engagement within the relationship. Once a person knows their significant other and what they should expect from them, they begin to feel comfortable with the settings or the flow, or even better, I like to call it the rhythm of the relationship. And just in case you didn't know, every relationship has a rhythm that it flows by. Inside the rhythm, trust is being built. The more committed and the more consistent the rhythm, the stronger the trust is in the relationship. When your mate knows that you're committed to not only them, but also the strength of the relationship, they're feeling more trusting. The rhythm of your relationship lays down a certain foundation for your relationship. And on this trust journey, it is both of you who have to find your relationship's rhythm. You must be committed and you must be consistent in it. Once you go outside the commitment and once you go outside the consistency, trust begins to crumble. There will be bumpy roads of mistrust ahead. If you want your road of love and relationship to be smooth, it is essential that you become committed and consistent in your engagement so that you can have trust to be in the forefront. I can guarantee you this, that your relationship will be better because of the trust. I cannot stress enough that the rhythm of your relationship plays a vital part of how strong the trust will be in the relationship. Once you break outside of the rhythm, your significant other will start thinking that maybe you're not trustworthy. So you must become committed and consistent in your engagement. So here's the final piece that I want to talk about in this episode. And we've got another one coming up next week. We'll finish up this series called Building Trust in Relationships. But this is the third one for this particular episode. Trust is built in developing effective communication. Just like I talked about relationships having a certain rhythm in the last point I was making, there is also a communication rhythm within the relationship. When the relationship is going well, the communication in the relationship is stronger than ever. But when the trust is just a little bit fractured, I can guarantee you the powerful communication seems to dry up also. That sends a signal to your significant other that there is something wrong within that relationship. I have talked often about communication during this podcast. I have to stress it. Communication is a key to the well-being of your relationship. I would say two of the major qualities that are needed in a relationship is definitely communication and trust. If you don't have neither of those, you really are void of a complete relationship. Even you heard my wife articulate it during the episode where she was on, and you need to go back and check that out when my wife was having a conversation on our podcast, because she talked about how serious communication is to her, and I believe also to most women in the relationship. If your relationship is using effective communication, then you will see trust leading the way. But when the communication is not as effective as it used to be, then you will recognize that trust has decreased. And when trust decreases, you start having some relationship issues that now that you must deal with, that you must have to be able to recognize that the trust level has fallen. Couples who develop effective trust and really effective communication, it can maintain that the relationship can be lasting longer, and there will be less issues because trust has been built up there. Let me be a witness for that. My whole life, I've been the quiet person. But when I first got married, I basically crossed the threshold of being mistrustful because I did not have proper communication in the relationship. And so when I did that, it gave my wife a signal that maybe I'm being untrustworthy. So I'm telling you, brothers, learn to communicate. I know it's a touchy subject with men because most men are the problem within the communication rhythm. But just because it has been done that way before, you can break the generational curses and be more trustworthy by communicating and developing it to be effective in your relationship. Now, that's all I've got for you today. I hope you've learned a lot. I pray that this is going to help somebody. And if it is helping you, please email me at tmrelationshiptherapy@gmail.com. We'll respond to your email because I do like to know how I'm doing in this podcast. And I hope that you are really picking up some of the things that I'm laying down for you. That's all I've got. And as always, please remember, it takes two to make a relationship work. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Relationship Therapy Podcast with Tony Miller Sr. We hope you have enjoyed this episode. Tune in next time for more insight on how to make your relationship better. If you have any questions, please email us at tmrelationshiptherapy@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. Until next time, remember, it takes two to make the relationship work.